Hi, I'm Steve Fogelman, and welcome to another episode of Fogelman Artist Empowerment on my YouTube channel. So this is video number 2, and today I was thinking I would be musing and rambling about acting. And I was thinking about, why do people want to be an actor? I notice on Facebook there's a lot of people that are trying to break into acting. And I didn't really understand exactly why. Because like any business, I guess, it's sort of, I think it has to do with like how everyone thinks they can write, because you take English classes and you write essays in growing up in school, that, people believe because they're human and they're moving and they're talking and they live, that they can be actors. And that's not to say that they can't. I can't say that someone can't be an actor, because that is not appropriate for a coach. But as a coach, I would look into what reasons someone has for being an actor, what are their values and their outlook for life, and how does being an actor help them achieve their goals and outlook and mission for their life. That would be how I would break that down. And so I guess part of me does judge some things that I see, especially when people are starting out, the methods that people do or what they'll do to or what they know or don't know, or how they go about learning about what they know. I mean, we all start knowing from nothing, So what are some of the reasons that someone could be an actor? Well, what comes to mind is, so people have natural talent when they're children. You see that a lot of people develop talent for performing as children. And, one of the possibilities of why that is such a positive, or, what's reinforced, is that they get validation from family, because they are talented. Because I was reminded, in Billy Crystal's show 700 Sundays, he was talking about when he was a child, it was telling jokes in front of his family and getting that laughter. That's what sort of got him into show business. So a lot of it is looking for external validation. Now, external validation is not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not a necessarily positive thing if that's your only validation, external validation. Because we see now with the pandemic, nobody's acting, nobody's writing plays, nobody's receiving external validation for what they do. And so where does that leave you? So one of my big things is, or what I feel is helpful for people, is to developing their inner validation or self-love, basically, that makes you immune to the need of external validation if you love yourself so much. Now, I share this because that's sort of my mission in life, or my sole purpose really is to share and teach people how to love themselves. And how do I know that? So how do you know what your sole purpose is? We're moving from acting to sole purpose, but I had what is called a Sabian astrology reading just in January of 2020. I don't really know too much about what Sabian is. You can look it up. There could be someone else who does these Sabian astrology readings, but what I found out from this reading that I never found out from anyone in any astrology reading that I've been to in the past is that my lesson in life to learn was to love myself and receive self-validation, not external validation. And so that made a lot of sense for me why my show business career didn't go exactly as I had hoped, because it really wasn't my destiny to receive so much of that external validation before I had developed the internal validation and the self-love. And so how does that come into my soul purpose? Well, some people, everyone has not everyone, but there are many understandings of what your soul purpose could be. My understanding is that your soul purpose is sharing with humanity your life lessons. And that's why sometimes you don't fall into your soul purpose until later in life, because what you are to learn is not clear. So if my life lessons is to learn self-love, that is my soul purpose, to help people find their own self-love and an internal validation. So as actors, that's really important, because you often won't get that validation until the end of the show. Applause is really the only validation sometimes. I used to look at, in the 90s, I used to audition for all kinds of commercials, and I had all kinds of callbacks and stuff, but I didn't book nearly as many as I had callbacks for. But a callback was a validation that I had some talent. Whether or not you're exactly the right type of what they're looking for, you can't control that, and that's one of the soul-crushing things about acting, is the amount of rejection. If you look at it as rejection, it's not really rejection. You're not being chose. It feels like rejection because you want them to choose you. But I always like to look at it as, they're looking for a certain shade of blue, and if you're not that shade of blue, they're not going to choose you unless you turn out to be some other spectacular shade of blue that they never even thought of would be just perfect. Does that make sense? So you're not really being rejected, but it's how you accept it that defines who you are. And so getting into a business where you're going to have a lot of that rejection is something to think about. I have a young client who had thought they were going to be doing a special winter show, and they were not cast, and they were absolutely gutted, as you would expect. And I said, welcome to show business. That's just the beginning. You have, when you hear of a celebrity, something posting of someone who got recast from a movie, or someone's TV show is canceled, that is just absolutely devastating stuff that it seems like people just take it in stride. But I'm sure that everybody has days or weeks of trying to process their devastation. So that's something to think about, of why you want to be in a business that has that. What is the payoff? What is the motivation for being an actor? Because I certainly appreciate people who really want to study every aspect of the craft. And even, I spent years studying Strasberg, and I continued classes. I haven't taken a class in about 2 years, because I haven't really been focusing so much on acting, but I was taking classes regularly in New York, studying with great people, Scott Freeman and Reed Birney, Tony Award winner. So that was my goal, to study with the best people. And according to my peers, I'm a really good actor. My issue is really in auditions, where I have most difficulties. And I realized that was from I had a rather traumatic audition earlier in my career, and that made me not enjoy the audition process. But so there's other things. So as an actor, you want to explore the craft. But also another thing with acting, I'm thinking, is we tend to compare ourselves to other people's careers. And that is just one of the worst things that you could possibly do, is want your career. It's completely natural, but you're not Johnny Depp, you're not Renee Zellweger. I'm trying to think of some younger people. See, I'm I'm dating myself. And whatever their career are, however great, whatever it is that they did, that's not you. And that's what, and actually in coaching can help you understand who you are as an actor, what you want to be as an actor, what are the things that you need to get out of acting, and then you can really, it's kind of similar to something called human design, and where you can really understand where you fit in the world of art and be uniquely you. Because many people's careers, they're really not the same. You know, if you look at people who are famous, but people who are not famous, they certainly develop a type. You know, if they're a character actor, there's certain roles that they tend to be cast in based on their essence. So that's another thing that's really good to understand, that coaching can help you understand your essence of actually who you are, what you bring to the table. So right now I'm just talking as me, so you kind of have an idea. This is my essence of whatever you find me to be. That's pretty much who I am, you know. But I guess I can be other people. You know what I'm saying? I can be someone mean. But that's not my essence. But that's what acting is for. But understanding your true essence will help you understand, especially in your photos, your headshots, if they capture your essence, there'll be a stronger connection for a casting, because you'll just come through the camera, you know, because it's who you are, not who you're pretending to be or trying to cover up. So why do you want to be an actor? That's the $1 million question that needs to be answered. I don't have that question, but you know, making a list of things that you want to get out of acting, is it because some people just want to be famous, and if you want to be famous, there's other ways to be famous besides acting. That's not the only route to being fame. If fame is what you're after, you can murder people, and that will make you famous too. So there's options, and that's what, as a coach, we help, you know, filter out the options to find which ones fit your values and morals. So fame, I was talking about. Reasons to be an actor. If you want to be famous, if you want validation, or it's something that your soul needs to express. I think that's the one thing that art has different from other realms of profession, is that there's an aspect of the soul that wants to come through. And how does that come through? And how is that revealed? Because that's what we see on the screen are people who are revealing their souls, or at least making us believe that that's what we're seeing. So I guess that's something. So this is deep. It gets deep because what is your soul about? You may not have even thought of that. And we can get into that. Maybe we'll get into that, you know, later. It's because that's more of sort of a spiritual aspect of the self and the art. But yeah, what does your soul need to express? And what is the best way to express that for you and for your soul? Because your soul is not your ego. The ego usually wants something different than the soul. And the soul is the one that wants the attention or not that needs the validation. The soul doesn't need validation. And that's why when you are loving yourself, it's just this major soul connection that that is just pure and delightful. You're happy to be by yourself. I've just absolutely been thriving in lockdown. I enjoy being by myself. I find myself to be hilarious. I'm in fantastic company. So it's a pleasure to be with me. So that's what I've learned. This quarantine time has been, or the pandemic has been an exceptional time for me, and made me think of things. So anyway, so I hope that you have thought about that. Why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be an artist? What is it you need to express? What is it you'd like to express? What does your soul want to say about this? What is it about your soul? And usually it's talking when you need to express is actually relieving. It's about an injury to your soul. Somehow your soul, you need to express a soul injury and work through that is what art tends to be about. So that's all for today. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and also leave me some messages if you have any thoughts on anything related topic, something for me to think about. I can add to my musings at a future date. Thanks so much.